Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a very early Saturday morning over here from, once again, a dark and sunless Helsinki, Finland. The best time of the year to get work done. And we got plenty to talk about, actually, with yesterday's CME closing for the weekly. Want to be following up on that. And also, even in the short-term timeframes, albeit it is a weekend, there is a few interesting things going on at the current moment in time. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest. And yes, I finally came up with my new, with a couple new videos that I'm actually really excited to post, so keep an eye out for that, as I'll be posting them probably early this week, actually. Anyways, with that said, anything else that I want to talk about? Will I be on Twitch today? Maybe, probably not, though. I think Elsa will be, though, however, so if you want to check out her, she's at Elsa69 on Twitch. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, so it is a holiday season, of course. We got Christmas coming up and New Year's and all that good shit, so we are going to be having a sale for that, so don't buy anything right now. Just wait a few days, and you'll save yourself a few bucks if you were interested in such things to begin with. Anyways, putting the focus over here on the Krown application, which can be found at app.krownchain.net. What do we see? We do see that Bitcoin dominance still kind of holding that higher-ish level, 65.25%, of which today probably would be a good day to go reference the Bitcoin dominance chart. Altcoins not having a good time during this whole Bitcoin boolah-ishness, and open interest also headed up quite significantly from yesterday to today as well, actually, I believe it was. Positions being added as Bitcoin does essentially travel back onto the top side of the range. What does that likely equate to? Well, likely equates to more or less healthy price action. That's going to be correlated to the actual analysis that we're going to look into soon enough as well. So keep that in the back of your mind's eye, as that will be relevant. Looking at the fear and greed index, coming down 2 points from a 95 to a 93. How does that fucking work out? Don't know. Maybe it's broken. Anyways, go over here into the data tab. I'm curious what all these cardinals in the coal mine are doing today. And what do we see? We see a little bit of divergence actually between the perps price and the futures price right here. Not anything too crazy or too actionable to begin with, but just keep an eye on it, I suppose, as sometimes you will see a little bit of leading indications depending upon major divergences on that. Looking at the funny rate down here, do we see anything out of the ordinary? FTX still posting a 0.1% read, of which they were actually significantly higher over the last couple of days, but no other exchanges were kind of following with them. So that was my signal. Hey, it's kind of a warning signal, but no, I really want to see 3+ or more get above that critical rate, of which we never got that. In fact, all the exchanges are pretty much down around 0.01%, which is not in any way, shape, or form alarming. So that was also a good indication that, hey, probably not going to top out here just yet. And what do we see on the fear and greed index? Coming down 2 points, so it's curling on over. We got just, no, just kidding. So not really too much to talk about right there. So with that said, let's go into the actual price action charts here, and we'll start off with the secondary charts today, as we do have CME's weekly closure from yesterday already confirmed. And what do you know? Bitcoin closing above the top side trend band here by clean, about $1,000 actually. So not bad. And this will set in the buys for the next week, and probably a week after that to come, for looking for new all-time highs. So if I had to just kind of synthesize down the most important things that happened in the last 24 hours, that would be it. Basically looking for new all-time highs coming in next week. However, what does that mean about this weekend? Well, weekend times are usually times for a little bit of fuckery, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of counter trend on top of that. Now, keep in mind, just because I am looking for new all-time highs coming into next week, that doesn't mean that we can't play out, short-term downside. In fact, I shouldn't say certainly, but very likely will play out some short-term downside. The question is how far down would it go? As I'd base the topside trend band on the weekly closure for CMEs here as a likely point, and that's going to be an obvious one, currently sitting at around $21,000. However, that's obviously going to change with the next week to come. And for reference, the last week to this week, it did rise up just under $2,000. So that put it pretty much where price action is right now, right under $23,000. So I would be looking for this area to act as a bit of a base. And if Bitcoin does come back down around there when the new trading week begins for CMEs, I'd be looking at that as more or less an opportunity. Can things be fished a little bit lower? Absolutely, yes. But generally speaking, I'd be looking at that as an opportunity, because long term, this is a trend in progress right here. And I just want to briefly go over this because it will carry on over into spot price action as well. Obviously, we haven't seen the weekly close for spot price action just yet, but as you can see right here, it is healthily above, we'll say, a clean almost 2,000 bucks above as well. And that would imply that, well, this trend just getting going, especially after about 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks right here of consolidation sideways and up being resolved in this last past week. And then more importantly, looking at this right here, and I spent a little bit of time speaking about this yesterday, and it seems like it was actually well received. So I just want to kind of hit back on this point because I think it's very important to reflect upon. Remember the whole relevancy of the 11,500-ish level right here. That's when the macro did really switch around. And we were just generally bullish after that for, retest of the prior all-time high and probably beyond. And that's exactly what we're getting right now. I'm not saying that to toot the horn or anything like that, but more importantly, we want to reflect upon some right now. That's very important because, Jesus Christ, redone it. It's fuck to Krown, learn English. But my point is that Bitcoin spent about 3 years consolidating in this, in this higher low fashion, going all the way down to, 3,000 and then 4,000, these major lows right here, and was just resolved, basically like a couple months ago in middle of October. So my point is that for a lot of the people who think that this rally is getting a little bit too crazy, a little bit too euphoric, I'm sure that, there will be some very nasty downs here, here and there. Absolutely. As we typically do see in your major uptrends, all these, 30% downs over here on the past prior bull runs. But at the end of the day, it's very unlikely that, after 3 years of a consolidation like this, in a higher low fashion, to be fair, I mean, this is reaccumulation on the whole. If when you do look at it on the higher term timeframes, it's just going to be done, after retesting the prior all-time high. No, this is very, very likely to head onwards and forwards much more. And I really like to get away from that sort of topic of conversation a lot of time because I feel like it puts me in the same pile as the Moon Boys, but it's the truth here, and that's really what it comes down to, I suppose. I'm curious, though, if we actually do have a measured move based off of this ascending triangle, or we probably already hit it. So just doing some bad mental math from 4,000 to 11,000, yeah, that's definitely already been hit. And that was our last little sideways consolidation right here, and then being resolved again. I'm sure the next question is, but Krown, can you make a new formation off this? Yeah, you could actually, and I don't want to do it because the price target is going to be so fucking high that I don't even want to deal with the consequences of being adherent to that. But just out of curiosity, because it is a weekend and there's not going to be too much else to talk about, I'm curious what that would show, or where, or what would be kind of like the likely target off that, just kind of eyeballing right here, as we do technically have structure, and that actually would be pointed towards about 35,000 bucks. And if we do line this up with the Fibonacci extension right here as well, we will see that does line up with the 3.618. So long term, do I think that Bitcoin, tops off this next, parabolic advancement somewhere around 35,000 or a little bit under 35,000? Bless you. Shut the fuck up. We're talking over here. Sorry, only men speak red. Just kidding. I'm just fucking joking. It's a bad attempt at humor. I apologize about that. Okay, if you're very mad, you can send an email to me at bro@coolstories.com and I will not reply to you. No, just kidding. A little bit of a dick today, I guess. But yes, the 3.618. It's not that I hate women. It's just I like PPs more. Anyways, looking at the 3.618 right here. That's an early morning conversation for you all. And now I'm banned from YouTube. Anyways, looking at this area right here, it is very interesting that it does come at the 3.618 because that is actually a really big one, just in general for looking for extensions. And let me actually just chart this out right here so that we can see all this thing going on. Yeah, there we go. It's not, obviously it's not perfectly done, but I would be very cautious within that region. As for looking for the next major pullback, so to speak, and looking at the weeklies right here, we do have to reflect upon this, that anytime that we have seen the weekly dildos close above the topside trend bands right here, we've seen, pretty phenomenal moves. And Bitcoin's, just got its first one, I believe, closing above right here out of this consolidation. Now, of course, we did just see this move right here, which ran it up about 53% before it actually did close below, and then a consolidation, and then another breakout to the upside after that. Now we can kind of measure this with the paths as well, and we can see that this run over here relatively similar, 63%. Then we get this read right here, which is another 36%, pretty damn good. If we go back to this whole run right here, we've done this a million times, so I don't want to bore people with it, but that's a 6% run right there, massive wick, and then does sell back down. And then what happens over here? Another run above the topside trend band, almost 50%. Same thing right here on this run, another 30% right there. Same thing on this one right here. This one about 16%, so a little bit muted right there. Then this one over over here, major one, 100%. You get where I'm going with this. So basically, anytime that we have seen the weekly close above the top side Krown band coming out of a consolidation, meaning that we get the first weekly total closing above, basically, resolving the consolidation, then that is typically when we do see these pretty nice advancement phases. So looking at this one right here, let's just kind of postulate a little bit of a theory right now. Let's just assume that Bitcoin spot does close above the top side Krown band once again, which CMEs have already done, and I'd say that spot's rather likely to do so as well, as long as it doesn't dump $2,000 in the next 36 hours or so. Let's just kind of play around with numbers. What if we were to add on, I need to do this a little bit more. What if we were to add on, the average of kind of what we typically do see from those moves? Taking this point right here, if you were to add on 30%, which is kind of on the lower end, that put Bitcoin right around the $29,000 region. And if we were to add on 50 to 60%, or in the 50%, which is actually was pretty consistent with a lot of those reads, that actually does put things right around $35,000. So I would say that, I tentatively speaking, I would be looking at that as a next major macro area. And doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think that Bitcoin could go higher than that. I just want to, let it kind of cool off and probably go through one of those 3 month to 5 month consolidations, which typically do see, and then we'll see the resolution out of that. And if it is a reversal, well, we can talk about, major moves to the downside, probably back down, maybe even $20,000 from there. And to the upside, well, I don't even want to think about that right now, because that's gonna really make me a fucking moon boy, I guess. Jesus Christ, man, this is just insanity right now. Anyways, okay, so yes, we got through all that. That's for all the spoon boys out there. Now let's talk about the low-term timeframes for the traders out there. All right, cool. So Bitcoin's still caught within this nice little short-term range. Yes, I did get it slightly wrong yesterday, as I was having a horizontal right here, right in line with the 2 spot. However, realistically, it's something more like this. A little bit of the art of technical analysis right there, rather than a science, but it's more or less the same thing essentially. And while I would be looking at this as more or less constructive, let's just do it something more like this right here. As I was actually come to think of it, yeah, it was a little bit off right there, so fair enough. $50 off, fair enough. Anyways, as long as Bitcoin's operating inside within this region, I do just look at that as a short-term time frame consolidation. Yes, it is a pretty fucking massive range, more than $1,000, $1,200 right there from top to bottom in a short-term range, which is really fucking mind-numbing, but I would still essentially have the same interpretation upon it as well. If Bitcoin breaks to the downside below 22,500, I would look for another move back down, probably about $1,000 lower towards 21,500. There's not really a good way of getting this right now, but if I did want to take a retracement, what I would do is something like this, and we'd go from breakout to our current high, and the 618 would be coming in right around 21,500. So I do like that area right there. Does seem to line up rather well. So I would, I'd essentially be adherent to that. Do I think that that's what's happening here? I don't really have a strong opinion on the short-term timeframes here. If anything, I'd probably still be fucking bullish, to be honest with you. By the same token, if Bitcoin does break out to the upside of the short-term range, 23,400 on a 4-hour, maybe even a 2-hour closure gets it as well. Although I grossly avoid low-term timeframes on the weekend. I'd look for a short-term move towards a 2-spot 414 at just below $24,000. I do not think that things would stop there, except for just a very short-term move, and then very, very likely it does head up to the 2-spot 618. That is your big algo target right there, and I would be looking for a little bit of a not just a little bit, but a decent pullback from that region, and that is 24,500. So fair enough. While we're on the low-term timeframes, let's see what momentum oscillators are suggesting right now. We do see that 4-hour Stokes are nosediving a little bit. I mean, again, sideways within this region is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that, realistically. 4-hour RSI, again, constructive, but does show some short-term downside here. So there certainly is a little bit of a threat of weakened downside, and that would honestly be the time to do it. I mean, typically speaking, when the market does want to wash a lot of people out of the when the market wants to wash a lot of people out, it's going to do these moves over the weekend because it's just easier. There's less people trading, so that means that there's less, there's less orders in the order book. It's a lot easier to kind of manipulate that shit, and I use manipulation as a very loose term, but in the more in the most direct sense, essentially, as it's no secret that most people in this market are grossly over leveraged. It's fucking crazy. I don't think I'll ever get over the fact that we have 100x leverage on an asset that literally has a fucking low term time frame range of more than $1,000. that's just Bitcoin. I guess that's just Bitcoin. So I actually would be a little bit more looking towards a test of the downside of the range over the weekend, but I don't really look at this as playable, at least for myself. I don't like trading over the weekend, and I avoid it like the fucking plague, unless if there's like something extremely obvious, then I will take it. But almost 90% of the time I do not trade on the weekends. So yeah, looking at the 4 right here, yeah, a little bit of threatening downside right there on the short-term time frames, to be fair. 3-hour Stokes coming all the way down as well to the edge of the bullish control zone. Now, I would say that this is overall likely to work out as a bullish reset. Again, going off of the way that CME's closed last week and looking at, or I guess yesterday, and also the way that open interest was kind of operating alongside that, I would look at this as, I'd look at any sort of a short-term time frame dump as likely an opportunity for next week to come. And that would play into the narrative of shorter-term time frames, likely, I should say, having a little bit of a bullish reset here. What do we see on the buy hourly? Same shit, essentially. Buy hourly Stokes actually pointed up right now, but next time that they do point back down, I'd be looking for a move back down, actually about maybe like $500 to the bottom side of the short-term range at the very least. Same thing with buy hourly RSI. So they are all showing some downside pressure here. Even the Jewel's in a little bit more of a sell posture, and we do have actually a little bit of bearish divergence on the hourly right here, to be fair. Now has the easy part of that move already played out? Yeah, I look at that 23,150 move all the way down to the 21 right here, another $200 is that move, and again, an hourly showing a fucking easy move of $200. I mean, it's just ridiculous right now. And over the weekend, we are seeing historical volatility potential starting to really contract. Here's your hourly, here's your buy hourly, here's your triple hourly, here's your 4 hourly. Actually, all the time from stuff for 4 hourly are going through a bit of a contraction phase there. So what does this likely equate to? A little bit of sideways, a little bit of down within the context of the short-term time frames. High-term time frames still all bullish. There's nothing bearish about the daily, 2-day, 3-day, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly. In fact, the higher-term time frame that we go, the better that it does look, and that's usually a really good sign. In fact, I should actually nail back down over here and show this on the daily. The daily I would look at as a trend in progress as long as the daily is closing above the topside Toronto band. For reference, that is currently 22,850, and this is only to be judged on closures. So I'm essentially looking for this to reaccumulate on the short-term timeframes and move upwards and onwards to the prior all-time high, which is currently just under $24,000 and very likely new all-time highs, with those fib extensions as potential targets for that. And I'm essentially within that mood as long as Bitcoin is trading above the topside Toronto band here, especially on the daily. I think the 12-hour is not doing it anymore, but that would show the short-term time frame target to the upside if Bitcoin does resolve to the upside on the short-term time frames, as we denoted earlier, and that would be just below 24,000, as that target. The 2-day also closed yesterday as well, and same thing here. And the 3-day is going to be closing tonight, and we have the potential to do the same thing here as well, anywhere above 22,550, and I'm essentially looking for new all-time highs coming into the next 3 days worth of trading. And then we'll come back after that. Anyways, back on to our short-term time frames over here. Again, if anything, it would be suggesting a little bit of sideways and down. This is a weekend. Do I really think that's too actionable? I mean, it probably does. I mean, it probably does actually come back down to like, low $22,000. But do we break structure? I would say if it does and it happens on a weekend, it's probably going to end up to be an opportunity. I wouldn't really trust even these ranges that I have right here. Like, technically this is right, but would I trade off that on a weekend? Fuck no. On a weekday, yes. On a weekend, no, thank you, sir, or ma'am, or zers and zims and hers. What do we have on the 12-hour RSI? A little bit toppy here as well. Again, long term, very fucking good. What are you laughing at? What are you... Elsa's watching sex scenes in Cyberpunk again. She really likes it. It is pretty hilarious. Anyways, 12-hour RSI, a little bit of downside would be implied there. However, again, this is long-term constructive. That's a very good read. It's just short-term. It would imply a little bit of down alongside 12-hour momentum also is turning down as well. Now, exactly what would Caretaker have to say about that? If we go over here to the 12-hour and daily, and actually 12-hour will remain to the downside as long as we're below essentially the short-term time frame range. So fair enough. More importantly, it would show targets to the upside if we do break to the upside at basically $24,500. So I do like that. Good confluence there. So we are starting to get some good zones. And actually to the downside, what would it say as well? Yeah, low. Oh, wow. Actually, that's very, 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 very far down. So I imagine that's going to change quite a fair bit on the next closure, and that's unlikely to begin with. It'd really be something more like around here. Yeah, in the low $21,000 region if we do dump over the weekend. Again, I would be looking at that as an opportunity, though. That's just me. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, blah, 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 blah. And what do we have on the daily over here? More or less the same thing as well. I'm sure a lot of people with the jewel are saying, Krown, it's a sell signal. No, it's not a fucking sell signal. Jesus Christ. Look at the slopes of all of these. If they're all to the upside, do not play that. It's also on a weekend. That's your, the fucking warning. And if it's not present on CME, then I don't give a fuck. And CME probably does line up for a pretty damn good sell signal. But as you can see, it's still... at the earliest time that it could even line up for potentially a perfect sell signal, it would still take another 5 days, around the 24th, 25th, maybe even a nice little Christmas red dildo dump. Ooh, Santa Claus got a bag full of red dildos for Grammy. She's not going to like that if that happens. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Grandma got run over by a red dildo. How does that fucking song go? Hidden bullish divergence on the 2-day played out. Oh, nice. Nice one. Not always going to get a move like that, but well, when it happens, enjoy, sir. Enjoy. 2-day historical volatility percentile. I'm still looking at this one to kind of denote the next sort of potential, maybe not macro high, but major high. I want to see this get red. We're still expanding here, and I imagine that this will continue to expand, but I want to see it get red before I start to really start to, what's it called? Consider major local highs and look for prolonged downside essentially. Okay, cool. So what else do we have? We're 20 minutes into this bitch right now. And I suppose now would be a good time to talk about, let's go back to traditional markets. MicroStrategy, I believe, came down to our level yesterday, popped back up. Nice one. I do like this. I believe that this one, honestly, right now, if you're trading Bitcoin, if you're trading traditional markets, I'd be looking at MicroStrategy to be like a bit of, I usually call it like the DeLorean trade, because it's like you get to see things in advance with what Bitcoin does, and then MicroStrategy is probably going to follow on top of that. If you're not familiar with the relevancy of this, because it's Michael Saylor's firm, I believe, and they are heavily invested in Bitcoin, so they do get to follow the Bitcoin parade, I suppose. And in this case right here, this is clear reaccumulation in the way that I look at it. As long as this one's above 279, I'd be bullish on this one, and likely follows through with Bitcoin. And we are at a macro level as well, alongside a weekly golden cross, by the way. And as you can see, going all the way back on over here, this was a 20-year long. Do you want to call this accumulation phase? I mean, it looks like it just got a Bitcoin phase over here is what happened. But more importantly, if you are trading traditional markets, do you get a little bit of an advance notice with what Bitcoin's doing? Bit of a volume climax here, to be fair, though. Anyways, let's go on to, where's my NASDAQ? Do we have new all-time highs? We have new all-time highs. Wow, how crazy is that? Would I be looking for new all-time highs coming into next week? You're fucking right, I would be. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, but Krown, we have a Jesus Christ dildo right here, and that means reversal. No, it doesn't. We need to see an actual closure below the low side of that. This is, as far as weekly is concerned, continuation, and I'd still be looking at the pattern target plus the fib extension target at 13,150, looking pretty fucking good there. NASDAQ leads the world market, so Bitcoin probably follows as well. And as you can see, Bitcoin, I mean, they're both actually kind of similar to each other right now. In fact, very similar to each other, so it's hard to kind of work out who leads who, but I'd say that NASDAQ did move first, to be fair, and that means that NASDAQ's better. So follow that. No, I mean, they're all kind of moving in tandem essentially, but it's no mistake that we see this one moving alongside, and I'd be bullish on this one for significantly higher prices over the long term. Short term, just does it have its ebb and flows just like Bitcoin? Yeah, probably does, but there's nothing bearish about closing a Friday like this on a major block. Nothing fucking bearish at all. SPY futures, same shit, although not as strong. So NASDAQ does lead, and target's actually a little bit higher here at about 3850-ish region. What else do we got? Fuck you, euro dollar, go down, you little piece of shit, but you're not going to be doing that, so might as well accept it. I already pulled the trigger on that one. Here's what I wanted to talk about as well. So Dixie enormous. Hey, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, this is a different chart. Let's actually go to my Forex list over here. There is actually some significant going on in Dixie right now. We did hit our downside target of 89 3/4 and bouncing off that level right now. Now, here's the thing. this bounce, if it is going to turn into like a medium-term time frame bounce, maybe even a higher-term time frame bounce as well, I'd be looking for it to trade sideways on the lows here for a little bit, and it probably will come back down and stab around 89 3/4 once again, and probably a few more times. Probably going to spend some time around here, but as long as this level does not break on a, well, of course a daily, but specifically a weekly, I mean, as that is a weekly level, then I'd be looking at this as likely to produce a little bit of a counter trend move right there. And if that is the case, it likely does play opposite of Bitcoin as well. So I would be cognizant of this coming into next week, but I mean, there's still plenty of bearish things here to begin with. So at the end of the day, I would be looking for a bounce here over the next few weeks. However, keep in mind that Bitcoin is going to play opposite of this very, very likely. So if this one actually does get back above the short-term pivot at about 90 1/4, then we probably do see a greater pullback on Bitcoin. The question is, how high does Bitcoin get before that greater pullback is initiated? Only time will tell. So let's go back onto a regular list over here. And is there anything else? I think it's time to look at some cryptocurrency shitcoins. No, some very highly amazing and technologically advanced shitcoins, that is. First off, gold. My gold shitcoin, I'd be calling a reversal right here. We do have hidden bullish divergence confirmed. Yeah, actually, yes, it is very much confirmed right here. Plus weekly Stochs turning up as well. I'd be looking at this as likely to initiate medium-term targets to 1950 and long-term targets to 2050 and probably beyond. It's looking pretty damn good there, at least for those moves as that does play out. Do we have anything to talk about on Link? Link's going to follow Bitcoin versus US dollar, but what about the Satoshi pairing? And that probably just comes to the upside. Where's my Satoshis? Where's my Sats, sir? And we basically did hit our downside target of about 54,000, 55,000 Satoshis. I'd still be looking for this one to come down a little bit more. Death cross on the daily, not good. Yes, there will be short-term upside moves, of course. In fact, probably even looking at one right now, I'm sure that there's some hidden there is regular bullish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives right there. It's not actually denoting these as local lows, although I would denote these as local lows, but I'm also using a little bit different settings. Always testing out new things with this thing, but it probably does have a short-term move back up to like 61,000 Satoshis. But is that a reversal? Nope, not really. Long-term, still think that this one, well, you know what? I mean, that's fucking close enough at the end of the day, right there. I'd probably be looking for a bounce here first and foremost, and then we'll come back to it later. We should probably check out the Bitcoin dominance chart too. What about Cardano? Nope, shitty. What about Butyrol? Nope, absolutely terrible. Jesus fucking Christ. This one's coming back down to 2,600,000 Satoshis long term. Short term probably does bounce as very, very likely to bounce here back up to 2,900,000 Satoshis. But we did hit our first downside target. I'd be looking for a bounce off this level and then probably continuation as Bitcoin does break structure, or assuming that Bitcoin breaks structure based off Krown bands coming in next week as well. Fuck, that reminds me, there was one big thing that was brought up by Mr. Punklandia and Joe Mama in the Discord, Gravy Grits is what he trades under now. And that was this. He was showing that, and let's actually just switch this around. He was showing that when the 55 EMA crosses the downside Troller band, we typically do have dumps. And I'm looking through it right now, and I'm not okay. It does seem to actually act as a magnet for price action. So what he's saying, or what he's focusing on, is the interplay between the 55, which is this light. Let's change this color. All right, let's make this red. Yeah, there we go. That's easy to see. Let's make it like super red. Okay, there we go. And then the bottom side Troller band. And anytime that we do see those cross, it actually does seem to act as a magnet for price action. Same thing to the upside here as well. Calling this rally right here, calling this dump right here, pulling price action in right here. Same thing right here, big dump actually. Then more recently right here, yes, bringing it down right there. And then once again, we see the same thing over here. Do I think that is this action? And yeah, we do have several examples over here. But to me, this is actually a lot more similar to what to what Bitcoin did back in April 2019. We see a 3-month long consolidation sideways on the lows, higher lows, nice and good, and then that big first breakout. By the way, historical volatility percentile on the 3-day was like incredibly low during that time too, if I recall correctly. And the first cross right here, yes, that does imply test back down to the bottom side Troller band, but the second cross right here, that's that's a go fuck yourself signal. Same thing right here. Crosses the downside, boom, tests the bottom side shoulder band, and then boom, crosses it again. But that's on the breakout. I would actually be looking at it more so like that. Follow the fucking trend here. And you know, I don't want to dissuade you from looking for this sort of stuff. It is relevant. I mean, you do see it right here, right? It gets across, boom, next test down. That's a fucking buy. But this one over here, that's continuation. So I would disagree that I would inherently be looking for some downside just based off that. I think that you already saw that move. And this was a very phenomenal move to begin with as well. You do see that Bitcoin makes a slightly higher high right there and then trades down for 12%. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. I know that doesn't mean much to cryptocurrency fucking moon boys and doom boys degens, but you know, for the regular people out there, that's kind of a big move. You know, it's definitely very tradable. This one over here, yeah, about 11.5% move right there. This one over here, about 19% move right there. You know, so you kind of get that there is a bit of rhyme and reason on that one, but ultimately, no, I think that we're in a continuation phase right now, not pulling back. Bitcoin's kind of, you know, doing the whole moon thing, I guess. Anyways, back on over here to the shitcoins. And what about Litecoin, Bitcoin? Do we have anything of note right here? This one actually looks significantly different than the other altcoins. I'm not like other altcoins, most altcoins. I'd actually be looking for a short-term pullback, maybe back down to like 45 or 450,000 Satoshis, but a bounce there very likely. Let's just check out the Bitcoin dominance. Fuck all these altcoins. I want to see the dominance. I want to see that dominatrix do her thing. And this is bullish as fuck long term. I'd still be looking for a move back up to 70% and beyond. I don't care about indicators, don't care about moving averages, don't care about, well, I guess moving averages actually do kind of make sense in this because that will help you generate trend. But I don't care about any other indicators on this on a chart like this. I only care about trend in trending indicators, so to speak. So long term, this is really fucking bullish here. I would be looking for not just a medium term move to 71%, but that's very unlikely to stop there long term. Short term, yes. Long term, most alts are very likely to get washed out of this market. I'll be on record as saying that now, and I've been saying that for a while. There's nothing fucking bearish about this at all. At fucking all. At least for a move back up here, but personally speaking, I think that that's a formality, and you're gonna see maybe over the next 6 months to a year this just absolutely fucking explode. Bitcoin's doing its thing right now. I think that the altcoin shitfest is actually the days are numbered there, because what we're seeing is we're seeing that Bitcoin is being legitimized in the more traditional sense, and if that's the case, then we're probably going to see a washout of the less legitimate projects. So the good news is that the more legitimate projects, they're going to very likely be very rewarded incredibly. I mean, and it should be quite obvious. I mean, you know, regardless of your thoughts on Mr. Buterin, they are going to put up futures for them on CMEs, I believe, as well in either January or February. That does say something. You know, CME Group does not like to waste their time. You know, it costs a lot of money to do this, costs a lot of research, and you know, there's plenty of shitcoins that trade on stock market as well. But at least they're not like actual shitcoins. You know, like a fucking white paper and some dreams, and then you sell. You know, just put that out, and then all of a sudden you got like billions of dollars of market value valuation. That's just ridiculous. I think that those days are very much numbered. We probably won't even see that within the next year, but probably next 2 years, I'd say. And then on top of that, this is this is just looking more or less like altcoins are not gonna be having a good time. So the good ones will be rewarded. So the charts that are looking better, or at least the charts that stand out, those are likely. That's a really good signal. So I would say Link's probably going to join that party too. This is one of the best charts in cryptocurrency still. Buterin very likely to join that party as well. Looking fucking good. I mean, still looking at that $800 move right there. Litecoin, would Litecoin be it? Probably not. Well, I mean, this is a pretty good chart. This is a decent chart right here too, to be fair. Motherfucker, man, go fuck yourself, Litecoin. No, I mean, it still does have lower highs in the monthly, so I guess you could still make, you could still make some bearish analysis on as long as it's below about 120 on a monthly closing basis. But you know, compare that with like a Ripple right here. Like this is a lot more pump and dumpy-ish. Monero is actually one of the better actors as well, and EOS again not relatively strong. Neo, terrible. Tron, excellent. No, piss in my fucking mouth, Justin Sun. That looks terrible. Zcash, awful. BNB, pretty good. So, while I don't necessarily check on too many alts myself, and I have really no interest, personally speaking, this would be a really good time over the next year to really judge which altcoins actually look different. Because if you are in that game, again, I'm not the person to go to for that. You probably will be rewarded, maybe even a better way than Bitcoin as well, as we're going to see we're very likely to see major bifurcations in this market. I think that you're going to see a lot of these shitty projects just wash out and become completely irrelevant, like more irrelevant than they already are right now. And you're going to see the strong survive and get even stronger. That's typically the rule. The strong get stronger, the weak get weaker. And what else do I want to talk about? We're already 34 minutes into this bitch. I think it's time to wrap this bitch up. Let's put this on over here. Okay, we'll do this. All right. And let's actually put this back on as well. Hey, stop that. Stop that. All right, I want my blues. I want my blues. Nice and easy on the eyes. I want this as a very low period one. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Weekly closure on CMEs. This is the big news today, as it did once again close above the top side Toronto band, not just on the weekly, but also on the dailies. You can see right here. And that will set into motion the bias coming into next week and probably the week after that, that Bitcoin is likely to just make new all-time highs. Now, does that mean that Bitcoin can't have a little bit of dramas on the short-term timeframes? Of course not. In fact, I would be looking for the next sort of test back down to the top side Toronto band as an opportunity. In this case right here, that is going to be on CME at around 21,000 as it is right now, but obviously going to be rising up with the next opening tomorrow in like the next 36 hours. On spot price action, we have the same sort of potential here as well, technically not confirmed until tomorrow on weekly closure, and that would be any sort of a closure above 21,350 at current price, where we would essentially have that same sort of operation. Now, CME is already doing it. To me, is more or less a formality to look for a spot to do it. Generally speaking, I'm just bullish here. Now, if we go down to the short-term timeframes over here, we can see a very obvious range between the 2-spot extension and the 2-spot 272 extension right here. A little bit floaty, and of course it is a weekend, so I don't trust this all that much, and I would not trade this over the weekend. But if we do see a break below 22,550, I would look for an extension actually all the way down to I'd take a retracement on this here from the breakout, or do we want to do breakout right there? Yeah, breakout right there on new all-time highs above 20,000 bucks to our current high on a 4-hour closing basis, and that would show the 618, which is a nice little algo target for about 21,500. That is interesting because that would be in line with what we do see on the top side Toronto bands as is right now, which I would be looking for to act as support. Can we get wicks below there? Yeah, absolutely, but I wouldn't want to see any closures below there, and I'd generally be looking at that as an opportunity coming into the next week, of which I would be essentially looking for new all-time highs on this price action. A break above the top side of the short-term range, 2-spot 272 right here at 23,400. And I would look for a short-term move to 23, basically right below 24,000 bucks right here. And but I do not believe that things would stop there. Very likely you'd get the next algo target. This is the big one right here, very very big one, 2-spot 618 at 24,500, and that's where I'd be potentially looking for more of a medium-term pullback. Extremely likely to get a short-term pullback right here, but medium-term timeframe pullback likely implied as well. And we'll come back to it after that. But for right now, I think that essentially gets out the most important things that I'm looking for right now. We could also do this on the daily, by the way, too, if you're so inclined. Topside Toronto band currently speaking right around about 22,750. So we probably do test back down into that region today. So, another 200, 300 bucks lower, but I'd be, again, looking at that as an opportunity and likely setting up for a move a little bit higher in this next week to come. Again, weekends are just not really, in my opinion, like that relevant, but short term, to kind of wrap it up right now, short term, a little bit of down to test the bottoms out of this range. However, I'd be looking for things to trade more or less sideways right here. This is constructive price action, and regardless of what happens over the weekend, unless we get one of those catastrophic closes below that critical point, I'd essentially be looking for basically new all-time highs coming in next week. And with that said, I want to wish you the best of the best and the happiest of the happiest. Let me adjust my glasses and wish you once again, take care, and until next time.